Welcome back to the March Daffodil Daydream class. We're using the Daffodil Afternoon DSP on the first couple of cards, and I'm really trying to focus on that DSP. For this card design, we're using the DSP that has the pattern at the bottom and then the very vanilla space at the top. On the back you have this sort of pink and peachy diagonal stripe as well. Again, I've made this as an Easter card, but you could easily turn this into a birthday card. I have used the playful alphabet dies here to create the word happy, and you could easily add birthday or anniversary or anything else really to that. So for this card we're going to start with a piece of crumb cake card for our card base. Give that a nice press. We have a layer of crumb cake card again, and we're going to add that in the centre of our card. I really like using the same colour card to matte and layer on my projects, and crumb cake card is a really nice one to do just that, like so. Next we have our piece of DSP. I have this piece here. And we're going to stick that straight down. Now this piece here is just ever so slightly smaller than that crumb cake layer we've just added. It's a little bit shorter and it's a little bit thinner, so you get a nice little border of crumb cake showing around the outside. Okay. Like so. Now, one thing I loved about this paper is that it's all the daisies are very, very neutral, but I want to, or daffodils are very, very neutral. I'm going to add a little bit of colour to a few daffodils using some Stampin Blends pens, and these are alcohol markers. So I'm going to just take a few of these daisies. Oh, that's a dark one, we want a light one. Light Daffodil Delight. Here we go. And I'm just going to add some yellow colour to a few of these daffodils, and I'm taking the ones that sort of seem on their own. Okay. These won't match exactly to what you have, but just use a few. I'm going to pick out sort of 3 or 4. It depends on the piece that you've cut out. And you can always use a different, you can use as much or as little of that DSP as you wish. I'm just going to add a bit more detail to these sort of areas. I'm just going to pick these daffodils out and give them a little fussy cut around. Now I usually fussy cut sort of leaving a little border around the edge, but I'm not doing that this time. I'm fussy cutting on the actual black outline of the daffodils. Okay. The idea being that we're going to just use these to add a little bit of detail to that nice little field of daffodils that's already on that DSP. Okay, you can give them a little curl with the nib, the lid of your glue. Okay, and then we're just going to pop them on sort of randomly across the card. To just give it a little bit more detail. This one here has got the little peach flower attached, so I'm going to cut that out as well. You don't have to do this. You may want to make more than one card, in which case you can keep your daffodils flat. Okay. And this one I'm going to line up down here with that sort of peachy flower. Okay. I could pop that up there so that it overlaps. Yeah, I think I'm going to put that one up there actually, so that it overlaps on the edge ever so slightly. And then I've got my last one here to just trim round. So the last little one, give it a little shape and then stick that down. Okay. So there we have our little daffodils added to the card. Now I'm going to add a little bit of ink splashing to this card using a basic black Stampin' Right marker, a basic black Stampin' blend. And for this I'm going to use the felt tip style N. I'm going to push that against the lid to just add a little bit of black speckling to cover up that, not cover, but just change the way that top section looks. Now the next thing we have to do is we've got to add our sentiment. So I'm just going to bring in my dies that I've used. These die, this long strip, this long very vanilla die comes from the Ornate Layers dies, and I'm going to stick that to my card front with some dimensionals. Now when you're adding long strips to your cards, I do like to use the edges of my dimensionals, and I'm going to stick that down so it's about 1/2 centimetre from the bottom, but it sits centrally along the width of that card. And then for these dies I'm going to add them just with little dots of wet glue, and the trick is to try and get them sitting evenly between that banner. Okay, so these have been cut from the Playful Alphabet dies, which are soon to be retiring, so these will not feature in the 2022 annual catalogue. They are selling fast, so if you've got them on your list, I would definitely be purchasing them before they sell out. These are really, really good if you love scrapbooking or you love personalising your projects. Okay, so then happy, like so. Okay, and then for Easter I am going to take a little scrap of very vanilla card, like so. I'm going to bring in my grid paper to protect my work surface. This is my grid paper, this is my working grid paper, so I tend to just use this ongoing, despite the sort of patterns that are already on it. It's a nice little, I find it a little bit inspiring to use things like that, and I don't want to create too much waste as well. I'm sure you don't mind either. Okay, so I'm just trimming out the word Easter, and you can do this with any of your sentiments. You can alter them by just taking one word out, and we're going to stick that just next to our word happy. Okay, to bring that card together, the card front together, I'm going to take a few little classic matte dots. You should have some of these in your kit, and I'm going to add just a few of these randomly to my card to just add another texture in, like so. I'm going to add another one sort of down here, like so. So that is our card front all done. Inside our card I've actually left it quite plain, which I know in the previous video I said I like to add detail to the inside of my cards, but for this one, because it's an Easter card, I'll probably write a nice message in there, so I'm keeping that nice and plain. But you could always fussy cut some more of those daffodils to add inside your card to add a little bit more detail. So there we have card number 2 all complete. Do let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed making it. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I will see you over at the next video. Bye for now.